Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Alejandra Garcia with your Friday edition of FSU weather. Currently, it's 85 degrees, nice and sunny outside. You should definitely go outside, take advantage of this wonderful afternoon with a nice breeze out of the north-northwest at 5 miles per hour. Looking at these current temps, we're just really seeing high 80s across the board. 88 in Tallahassee, look at that. 89, just shy of 90 in Sumatra. Definitely cooler down here in Apalachicola at 80. But mostly just the mid-80s, high 80s for the Panhandle. Just quite warm for this time of year. Tropical overview, we're taking a look at Tropical Storm Julia, just really swirling angrily down in the Caribbean. It's going to make a beeline for Central America, so I hope those folks are staying safe and getting prepared. But for tonight's headlines, we're going to be looking at drier air lingering over the Big Bend. What exactly are sea breezes and how do they affect Florida summer weather? And we're going to be taking a closer look at Tropical Storm Julia over Central America. All that and more on FSU weather.
Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Melissa Geiger.
And I'm meteorologist Shane Wilder.
And we're going to have a lot to talk to you about today. There's a little bit of traffic spinning up, but thankfully nothing that's going to bother us.
Yeah.
And a lot this weekend.
Yeah, the forecast for Halley, absolutely beautiful. Mid-80s. Enjoy your last gas of summer.
Absolutely. That fall is definitely starting to set in. We're seeing those temperatures in the lows of 50s during the nights, which I know for me is freezing.
Yeah, those cool mornings are very much welcomed. Enjoy it while we can. It looks to be just going to be a great weekend.
Absolutely. So make sure you grab your noodles for dinner. Enjoy the show, and all this and more will be talked about here on FSU Weather, starting now.
Thank you both. Let's take a look around Tallahassee tonight, shall we? Looking pretty great tonight. And overall, it's just a great night to be out and about. Doak Campbell Stadium, 85 degrees right now, sunny. Look at that sunshine. As we get closer to the time change, and especially further in the winter, we're going to start seeing some gorgeous sunsets out on our Doak Campbell Stadium sky cap. 85 degrees also at the res today, so if you got out onto the water today, great day to go out and do that. Wind at about 5 miles an hour, and our Panama City campus also looking quite gorgeous. 86 degrees, sunny, a little bit of humidity, but that's definitely because of the sea breeze. We'll get to that here in a minute. 89 degrees was the high temperature today, 84, a few degrees above average then. Thankfully, we were just a few degrees short of our record of 94 degrees, but nowhere near our low temperature of 41 degrees. Taking a look at our local radar, there's not much to see up there. It is working, I promise you that, but nothing really to see there. Quite odd, isn't it? Well, not really. For this time of year, 88 degrees, 86 in Monticello, 82 up in Thomasville. We're looking at about 80 degrees in Apalachicola, looking quite nice. Dew points. We talked a little bit earlier about sea breezes, and if you're looking for the sea breeze, it's going to be right in here where it's a little bit more humid to this towards the coast. 44 is the current dew point, so humidity-wise is quite comfortable out. 56 degrees right now, or 56 is the forecast for tonight in Tallahassee, looking clear and comfortable throughout most of the viewing area. No rain to be found, and taking a look at futurecast, we're just going to see some clouds come in overnight and then again tomorrow as we get going. So it should be a really great day to get out and about if you want to watch the FSU football game tomorrow night. Just being out in College Town or wherever you may be watching that game, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Tomorrow's forecast, 88 degrees, so we are getting, like Melissa mentioned, our last little taste of summer, but it's on its way out if you feel those morning temperatures of about 50s. Tonight in Tallahassee, 58 degrees, partly cloudy. Winds are pretty calm. And then tomorrow, 88 degrees, looking quite all right. A little bit, like I showed on Futurecast, a little bit clouds coming in, but that will make it quite nice. And then our 7-day forecast is looking quite great. Rain chances, zeros for the next few days. We are going to work in some rain chances as we get later in the week. So it's just a great time to be out and about. Monday, Columbus Day, 87 degrees for the high. Our lows are going to start working their way up over the next couple of days. 65 degrees by Wednesday morning, 65 on Thursday morning, and then 66 by Friday. Rain chances again are going to start coming in on Friday, That will be our next look at some storms. I'm going to pass off to Hayden for a look at the rest of Florida.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. That forecast Tallahassee looks amazing. Lows in the upper 50s, absolutely stupendous. So overlooking the region right now for our great state, our peninsula of Florida, currently conditions are clear over the region. On Pensacola Beach, right now nothing but blue skies and scintillating water, 80 degrees, the sun glistening off, absolutely gorgeous. If you're heading out to the beach and watch a sunset, should be just fantastic. Should stay mostly clear as well. And also winds are out of the south-southwest at 10 miles an hour. That sea breeze they were alluding to. Radar, nothing but clear skies, nothing popping up on the radar at all. Daytona Beach, you're heading out there, it's going to be 81 degrees. Mostly sunny, winds out of the east at 8 miles an hour. So also seeing Atlantic sea breeze perhaps. And you see some high cirrus reflecting off the sunlight. Absolutely gorgeous. You're heading out to Daytona. You can drive out your truck onto the beach, one of the very unique areas in the peninsula. The North Florida radar, nothing popping up as well. Some ground clutter, but nothing associated with any precip, so enjoy it. Fort Lauderdale, you see a much more tropical air mass with some cumulus congestus clouds forming in the region. 85 degrees, mostly sunny. Winds northeast off the Atlantic as well, kind of funneling in that moisture. And there might be some shower chances through the weekend. But right now, blue skies, if you're heading to the airport, no delays, it's going to be perfect. South Florida radar, perhaps seeing some influence of showers in the Bahamas, but overall, clear skies and great recovery efforts for those affected in Southwest Florida by that hurricane. Current temperatures throughout the state, decked in the lower to mid 80s, with Tallahassee actually being the warm spot on the map, even more so than Miami. So if you like warm weather, enjoy it. Fellow Tallahasseans and FSUites, it'll be great. Dew point 44 in Tallahassee, so also very dry. And of course, dew points are in the lower to mid 60s in Southeast Florida. We're seeing a moist environment with the southeast wind. So some varying air masses in the state of Florida, but pretty great, ranging from your upper 70s in Miami to the Keys, to 57 in Pensacola and 56 Tallahassee, and in the mid 60s in between. So definitely a contrast of air masses, but very climatologically average for this time of the year nevertheless. I'm looking at the future radar. You can see there will be some upper clouds streaming into Tallahassee associated with the little jet. And then the only action of rain to speak of is going to be in South Florida. We're going to have a northeast wind off the Atlantic, funneling in some shallow showers into the Miami-Dade and Keys area. Nothing too serious to worry about over there. Tomorrow's forecast, seeing upper to mid 80s into the region. And that's really what we're going to see pervasive throughout this week as we have an area of high pressure that stays ahead of our next drop that's probably going to come in over the weekend. And given with that, now we're going to hand it over to Nico and see what he has to say about our forecast.
All right, waiting for my graphic to pop up. All right, here we go with the southeast. This looks like a nice southeast today. Sunny all over. Sunny in Charlotte, sunny in Nashville, sunny in Tampa, sunny in New Orleans. It's very dry air mass. We got high pressure over the southeast, but you do have a cool front coming. It is warm and not humid, luckily this time, but it is warm south of the cold front. North of it, you're having way below average temperatures at the moment. And here's the reason why we have the dry air. You have big high pressure over the Atlantic, and that's coming into Florida. So pretty much all of the southeast, unless you're way in South Florida or in the Bahamas even, it's a bit humid there. The rest of the southeast is dry right now. A look at your current temperatures, though. 87 degrees under sunny skies in Tallahassee right now. We're actually one of the warmest spots in the southeast, if not, we are the warmest spot in the southeast because we've had so much sun. You're in the lower 80s in the rest of Florida, and up here in Nashville, where you've had the cold front affecting you already, it's 73 degrees. It sounds really nice. And a look at your current wind. You can see where the cold front is, where the wind's coming straight out of the north at a faster speed. That's where the cold front is right now. That's a very, that's going to be a chilly breeze. Now in Tallahassee, we have no wind because we're just under the high pressure dome, and you can see the little lines over Florida indicating the wind directions are very variable and slow. But here's your 36-hour forecast. You're getting into tomorrow morning, we see upper 50s, but tomorrow afternoon is going to be another warm night, or warm afternoon. Tomorrow night is also going to be in the upper 50s. We're going to have some clouds along a bit of a trough, but there's not going to be much in the way of rain. And it's not going to be very muggy today or tomorrow either. Your dew points are in the 50s, and it's usually when you're in the 60s and 70s for dew points is when it's humid. But if you're in the peninsular part of Florida, it's going to be muggy for you there. If you're anywhere else in the southeast or if you're in Tallahassee, it's going to continue to stay dry throughout the weekend. So looking around the southeast, if you're in Charlotte, you're going to have really nice weather the next 4 days. 69 to 74 degrees, and your lows are going to be mostly in the upper 40s, except for Saturday morning ahead of the front. Nashville has pretty much the same story, except your low temperatures are a little bit cooler. Your high temperatures are warmer. This usually indicates dry air. When you get temperatures, the high and the low, far apart from each other, it typically means it's dry out, and you can see that reflected in the forecasted weather as well. In Tampa, it's warm, and it's going to stay warm. 88 degrees on Tuesday, 88 on Sunday. It's going to be pretty warm all weekend. In New Orleans, it's going to be 85 on Saturday, and then 81 on Sunday and Monday, and then 83 on Tuesday. That's going to be some pretty nice weather as well. So if you're going to be in New Orleans, then that is pretty good weather to be outside, and you have no chance of rain. But now I'm going to pass things off.
Thank you. So yeah, looking at the tropics, we all know Hurricane Ian just made landfall last week and devastated Southwest Florida. However, we cannot keep our eyes off the tropics. October, we've seen a lot of strong storms come during this month. Right now, Tropical Storm Julia has formed down in the Caribbean. Right now, she's not as strong yet. I give them, personal pronouns. 40 miles an hour, and it's moving west at a pretty quick speed at 18 miles an hour, and the pressure is 1,002 millibars right now. However, oh, nope, I went too far. Okay, here is the forecast cone. Right now, it is a tropical storm, and it's going to continue moving west, and it is going to strengthen up to a Category 1 hurricane. So we do have hurricane warnings out for Central America until Saturday afternoon, and the wind speeds are forecasted to be 75 miles an hour. But then as it moves more west and it's going to move a little bit more north, we're going to go back down to our tropical depression. Now here is the water vapor satellite. As we see, here is the storm here, and you can sort of start to see this center of circulation here starting to become more organized and not just the cluster of thunderstorms like they start out as. So this is going to keep moving west and make landfall probably sometime around Saturday, which is tomorrow. Here is our spaghetti plot, also known as a noodle plot, maybe to some people. All the models are pretty much saying the same thing, just the western motion making landfall right here. This one, who knows, it might happen. But as of right now, all the models are kind of saying that this is going to keep moving west at this fast speed. Here is our Euro and GFS models. Again, unlike we saw last week with the confusion between the models, these are pretty much agreeing that they're going to keep moving west. And here is our water vapor up in the Gulf of Mexico. Here we have this moisture here that is coming down from the cold front, and we can start to see Julia down here, and here is a closer view of that. Again, we start to see the circulation there. And as of right now, nothing else to be concerned with in the tropics, but of course it is the peak of hurricane season, so make sure you have your plan. Now, do you want to know what a sea breeze is? Go ahead and watch this video.
Good evening, FSU weather. This is student meteorologist Aaron Surrey back here at the National Weather Service Tampa Bay, and I am joined by meteorologist Austin Flannery of NWS Tampa Bay. And today we'll be going over an educational video on the sea breeze and its effects on here in Florida. So Austin, tell us a little bit about the weather today and its effects with the sea breeze.
Yeah, the sea breeze is kind of a buzzword in terms of Florida weather. We talk about it a lot, and that's because it's our driving force behind our thunderstorms in the summer months. So if you recall back to those early science classes, you may remember in terms of heat, right? Land heats faster than water. And so what that means is each afternoon, once the sun is up during the day, we see a temperature difference that begins to develop between the land and the water. So the land is hotter than the water, and that temperature difference drives the formation of the sea breeze. The Earth, it's always trying to achieve what is known in the technical term of homeostasis, essentially balance, right? And in order to have balance, you need to have equal temperature. Well, Earth never can actually achieve that balance, but it attempts to do so. So in that, one of the rectifying forces is the sea breeze. So this cooler air from the water pushes in over the land, and it acts off a lot like a shovel, and it forces the air to rise. In order to get a thunderstorm, there's three ingredients you need: moisture, instability, and lift. The sea breeze provides the forcing, the lifting mechanism to get the air to rise. And then, of course, we're surrounded by water. This is Florida. It's a peninsula, so there's plenty of moisture, and it's hot, so there's your instability. So the sea breeze is important in driving our weather conditions, and we spend a lot of time looking at it and understanding how it's going to evolve through the day to interpret where the best chances for rain are each day.
Right, and so Austin, tell us about today's weather conditions and what regime we're in and how that impacts our weather today.
Yeah, so through our research, we've kind of determined that depending on how you want to coin it, there's either 8 or 9 different flow patterns that we often see in the summer months. Each of these flow patterns are correlated to a different position of what we call the subtropical ridge axis, basically a semi-permanent high pressure feature that drives the wind flow, the general wind flow across the peninsula. The wind flow, the predominant wind flow of the day, dictates how far each sea breeze makes its way inland. So today we're in a regime 7 flow, which is an east-southeast wind, but a stronger wind. So what that means is that the west coast sea breeze really doesn't get very far if it forms at all, but the east coast sea breeze moves pretty much all the way across the state and eventually runs into that sea breeze late in the day. If we had more moisture, then we would be talking about thunderstorms likely along that. But today, the problem that we're having is it's just a little too dry in the atmosphere with dust that has shown up from the Saharan desert.
And I should say dry in terms of Florida weather in the summertime. But tell us a little bit more about that Saharan dust.
Yeah, so obviously it still feels plenty warm and humid at the surface. This dust, though, what it does is it limits the amount of moisture available throughout the column. If you took a 3D section of the atmosphere, you would notice it's a lot drier today than what we often see for a typical summer day. And like I mentioned, you need those 3 ingredients, moisture, instability, and lift. And in a relative sense, we've removed the moisture piece, at least enough of it to prevent most thunderstorms from being able to develop today in our area. So with that being gone, we don't get any thunderstorms, and it ends up just being warm and dry compared to what we would see normally.
Interesting, and we'll actually go right back inside now and take a look at our weather over satellite and precipitable water. So we'll meet you back inside. And we're back inside here. We're going to take a look at the satellite and the precipitable water on, of course, today's current conditions and how that relates to the sea breeze. So if you look here across the Florida Peninsula for today, we have the east coast sea breeze making its way off inland, producing a few showers, but again with that drier air, which we'll mention here in a second. It's not much in the way of coverage, and on the west coast we're not seeing much of a sea breeze pushing inland. And of course, if this was more of a regular day during the summertime, we would see a lot more activity than what we have right now. Looks like up in the Panhandle we're seeing a little bit more in the way of thunderstorm activity. But if we look over here towards the precipitable water forecast, we'll see why. And here we have precipitable water or vapor values down around 1 or so, which is pretty low for this time of year. But as we go in through time, through about Thursday and into the weekend, we do see more moisture coming in back into the forecast, and this will allow for more thunderstorm development. And we can see back here on our percentage of or pops here, we'll see that that actually does continue and hold true. For today, we'll see those thunderstorms moving off, if any do form. And then tomorrow we might see pretty much a repeat of today. But that kind of goes into my next topic, which will be about the actual sea breeze regimes here. And actually, National Weather Service here in Tampa actually has a whole web page you can check out about the actual flow regimes we have here in the Tampa Bay area. So if I pull that up here right now, we do see we have all these regimes. We have 8 regimes here, and that basically go over the general climatology and flow pattern of what we might see in terms of weather for that day. So if we look at regimes 1 through 4, or 1 through 3, I should say, we see generally we do see an easterly wind, and this will tend to favor thunderstorms along the west coast. Regime 1, it also does depend on exactly where that ridge is actually placed, because we could see more variable winds, and that, of course, can depend each day. As we go further down to regime 4 or 5, we do see a southwesterly component for the Florida Peninsula, which would tend to favor more showers and early thunderstorms, which will then shift off to the east coast. So you can see the general pattern for these regimes is that the storms tend to go where the prevailing winds are blowing them to. So if we have an easterly wind, we tend to see those thunderstorms along the west coast. If we have a westerly wind, we tend to see those storms along the east coast. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave the link down below so you can check out more on the thunderstorms or the regimes here, what we might expect across Florida. So for FSU Weather, this is student meteorologist Aaron Saray.
Thank you for that wonderful explanation of sea breeze, Aaron. I'm student meteorologist Nicholas Porcelli, and I'll be presenting our newest segment, FSU Weather in Spanish. Aquí tenemos una mirada en vivo desde Doak Campbell Stadium y como el resto del día pueden ver que este atardecer va a ser una muy maravillosa. Temperaturas 88 en este momento y con un viento calmo soplando desde el noreste en 5 millas por hora. Y la resta de la región, como Doak Campbell Stadium, también tiene condiciones muy óptimas. El polideportivo de FSU, la isla de St. George y Lago Bradford, todos tienen cielos despejados y va a ser un día muy lindo, una noche muy linda para disfrutar afuera. Como dicen nuestras miradas en vivo, el radar local también no muestra ninguna amenaza de precipitación y no hay nada de decir de nubes o precipitación para la región. Y las temperaturas del momento, la mayoría de la región está en los medio 80s, pero aquí en Apalachicola y en St. Marks está un poco más fresco por las brisas marinas que están trayendo un poco de frescura a la región. El pronóstico de esta noche, podemos ver que van a entrar un poco de nubes, pero toda la región se va a quedar en los medios 50, aquí en Tallahassee 56, en Monticello 55. Para el punto de rocío, aquí pueden ver que en la costa está un poco más húmedo, porque las brisas marinas están trayendo humedad desde el Golfo de México, pero aquí en la parte norte de la región, en Tallahassee y Monticello, los puntos de rocío están un poco más bajas, en los 40s, porque el área de alta presión trajo un poco de aire seco que está trayendo condiciones más secas. Y lo que dice el punto de rocío es la cantidad de humedad que tiene el aire. Lo más bajo que está el punto de rocío, lo más seco que se va a sentir. Para el radar futuro pueden ver que no va a haber ninguna amenaza de lluvia, pero sí van a entrar unas nubes porque vamos a ver un frente frío al final del fin de semana. Y para el pronóstico de mañana vamos a ver unas temperaturas un poco más altas que vimos hoy y la mayoría de la región se va a quedar en las altas 80s. Para los retrasos del aeropuerto, en este momento no vemos ningunos retrasos en Tallahassee, cielos despejados muy lindas, y para el resto de la región, en Atlanta, en Los Ángeles, no vemos ningunos retrasos tampoco. Para las condiciones costeras, va a ser un lindo día para ir a la playa, el Golfo temperatura de 81 y el aire 87. Para el pronóstico de la semana se va a ver que la temperatura va a subir un poquito y después la próxima semana va a venir el frente frío que va a traer lluvias. Y ahora vamos a pasarlo a Ryan con el resumen de deportes.
Thank you, Nicholas, for that wonderful explanation. For those of you that may be wanting to watch us in Spanish, Nicholas has a great explanation of your forecast. If you want to cheer on the Garnet and Gold this weekend, lots of opportunities to do that. Let's take a look up in Juneau Beach, down near West Palm. They're going to be playing 78 degrees on Monday. Great weather if you're going to go out, maybe hit a couple noodles. If you're a golfer, you know what I'm talking about. Those noodle balls, they just take off. I love them. 7 a.m., looking pretty great for teeing off. We're going to see this weekend a couple of showers try to push through the West Palm area. We're looking up near Juneau Beach, just north of West Palm itself. But overall, it looks great for golf on Sunday, or Monday rather. And the ladies, they're also teeing it off on Monday. 45 degrees at 7 a.m. That is chilly. Clouds around, 61 by noon, and then 66 by the end of the round on Monday. That is way too cold. I golf a lot, and that is pretty cold golfing weather. Looking at near Jersey, we're going to see cold front push through overnight tonight and tomorrow, and then clearing weather. There are going to be a few clouds around for their round of golf on Monday, but overall nothing really that will inhibit their round. Women's soccer is up in Notre Dame, Indiana. 55 degrees at noon, up to 63 by 2 p.m., and then 64 degrees at 4 p.m. That's looking pretty great. So if you're going up to Indiana for the weekend, they're going to have some great weather up in South Bend. A little bit of an off lake flow from Lake Michigan. That'll kind of push the storms away later on tomorrow. So weather looking pretty great for our friends that are going up to Indiana and watching women's soccer. Softball is going to be here in Tallahassee. Hope you can pop out tomorrow. At 1 p.m., 81 degrees. Clouds will be around, but you may still want to bring some sunscreen just because, especially with the football game last weekend, the amount of sun, you're going to want some sunscreen. Even though the clouds will be around, taking a look at future casts, there will be clouds covering Tallahassee, but that being said, the UV index of the sun will still get in and give you a nice little sunburn. So taking a look at volleyball, we've got FSU against Duke. That is tonight, 81 degrees for start of the game, 75. And then for walk home, you're looking at about 67 degrees. You might want to bring a light pullover or something to give you a little bit of warmth as we get into the end of the game. So forecast looks great for sports next couple of days. Hopefully they can keep it going. Now I'm going to pass off to Melissa for a look around town.
Thanks, Ryan. I just want to say, Ryan's done an awesome job today. This was his first live debut on FSU Weather, and he has done absolutely amazing. So a little round of applause for Ryan back at home. He did absolutely awesome. But looking into today, we will look at what you have in store for the next weekend, if you're going out around town, if you finish those noodles that you're eating for dinner. So looking at our local radar, nothing in the sky right now. It's absolutely beautiful outside. It's a great night to take advantage of the nice weather. Go outside, enjoy the night, spend some time outside, and just go stargazing maybe. Sorry, I can't talk today. Tallahassee future radar, again, not much is going to be changing. We're still seeing some northerly flow coming through, so a little bit of a breeze. But overall, not much coming through except cloud cover, so no rainfall to look out for. It'll actually be some really nice conditions. For tonight, 76 at 8 p.m., dropping down to 62 by 2 a.m. So it's going to be on the chilly side. So if you're native Floridian like myself, you're going to want to grab that sweater before you head out. It's going to be a little bit chilly. And if you're walking your dog in the morning, still going to be chilly. You're still going to need that jacket. Your dog might need a jacket too. 60 at 7 a.m., 65 at 9 a.m., warning up to 78 by 11. So maybe if your dog can hold it, maybe hold off walking them until a little later on. But for your Saturday drive cast, again, cold, so you're going to have to turn that AC up in the morning, but getting up to 87 in the afternoon, so that's when that air is going to have to kick on, having that weird time pattern where we're not quite into fall yet, but not quite into out of summer. For our airport delays, everything looks pretty clear, seeing no delays anywhere in Tallahassee, and also no delays anywhere else in Florida or Atlanta or into Los Angeles, Fort Worth, and Denver. But that's all we have for you tonight, taking that look at the weekend. Beautiful conditions, so make sure you get out there. But we're going to turn things over to the closing desk with Nico and Ale.
Thank you so much for that, Melissa. I don't know about you, Nico, but I'm really looking forward to that cooler weather we're expecting later on.
Yeah, definitely. That's always nice to be able to go outside and it not be blazing hot when you walk around campus.
I know, it's just so sweaty, and I'm just so excited for that fall weather. It's just going to be super beautiful. But why don't we go into our socials? You guys can follow us on FSU Weather, or you can follow us on Instagram. You can also see us on YouTube, or you can also find us on Facebook. But yeah, so here are just another look at our socials where you can just follow us. Definitely take a look at us on Facebook. Take a look at us on these socials where you can keep track with all of what FSU Weather does. And why don't we pass things off to the wall where Nico's going to give us our 7-day outlook.
Thank you, Ale. Yeah, I'm just going to leave you guys here with this amazing view of Doak Campbell Stadium on this beautiful, beautiful afternoon. Clear skies all throughout, and temperatures in the high 80s, so it's going to look pretty nice, and I think you guys should go out and enjoy the day we have because it's really beautiful.